Hey there, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we're tackling a topic that literally touches every single one of us. We're talking about aging. But look, we aren't just talking about getting older. We are talking about thriving. Now, it's no secret that once you hit your 60s, your body naturally begins to change. And yeah, that can feel a bit daunting at times. But here's the truly empowering truth. While some of these natural changes are just unavoidable, how you feel and how you function, that's still very much in your control. The science shows us that your daily choices have a massive impact. So let's dive right into this and look at the actual science of aging, and more importantly, how we can stay strong, healthy, and independent for years to come.
So let me ask you something you might have caught yourself wondering recently. Why do stairs suddenly feel, well, just a little bit harder than they used to? Or maybe you've noticed that you wake up feeling a bit stiffer, even after getting a full, totally restful night of sleep. You know, it's really easy to notice this physical friction and get discouraged by it. But the immediate good news here is that these natural bodily changes do not mean your health is just on some rapid decline. No way. In fact, they can actually be slowed down with some incredibly simple, highly effective daily habits.
All right, here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. We're going to cover the reality check, the structural foundation, the engine and computer, systemic recovery, busting myths, and finally, your daily action plan. Think of this as a positive, solution-oriented journey to help you age with total confidence.
Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the structural foundation, focusing on muscles and bones.
So, one of the biggest changes you'll probably experience after age 60 is this gradual loss of muscle mass. It happens super slowly over time, which is exactly why things like lifting groceries, carrying a heavy box, or honestly just pushing yourself up out of a deep chair starts to feel a bit more difficult. Think of your muscles kind of like rechargeable batteries. If you don't use them regularly, they just slowly lose their juice. But just like a battery, they can be recharged. And the phenomenal news here is that your muscles respond to exercise at pretty much any age.
Right, so the crucial question is, how do we actually recharge them? Well, you don't need a fancy gym membership or heavy, intimidating equipment. You can rebuild your muscle and dramatically improve your balance with simple strength exercises just 2 or 3 times a week. These micro-resolutions are so incredibly accessible. Step 1, you can just use light dumbbells. Step 2, grab some of those inexpensive resistance bands. Or Step 3, literally just use your own body weight. Strong muscles are absolutely essential, especially because they protect another vital part of this structural foundation.
And that foundation relies heavily on your bones. As we get older, our bones naturally lose density. They get a bit thinner, and unfortunately, that means they're more likely to break if you happen to take a fall. What's really tricky here is that bone loss often happens completely without symptoms, like you just can't feel it happening. Imagine your bones as the wooden frame of a house. Over many, many years, that frame is going to slowly weaken if it isn't actively maintained and cared for.
But again, the power is totally in your hands to maintain that frame. Fortunately, there are some highly proactive ways to keep your bones strong. First up, engage in weight-bearing activities. This means walking, climbing stairs, or even just some gentle dancing. These movements literally signal your bones to stay healthy. Second, make sure you're eating a diet with enough calcium and vitamin D to give your bones the actual building blocks they need. And finally, please don't skip your regular health checkups. If you're at all concerned about your bone health, your healthcare provider is your absolute best resource.
Moving right along to section 2. The engine and computer, protecting heart and brain health.
We group the heart and brain together in this explainer because the physical habits that benefit your blood flow also powerfully impact your cognition. After 60, your blood vessels naturally become a little less flexible, and your heart might not pump quite as efficiently as it did back in your 20s. But listen, this definitely does not mean heart problems are inevitable. In fact, tons of older adults maintain magnificent heart health. Think of your heart literally as the engine of your body. Just like a car's engine, the better care and maintenance you provide, the longer and smoother it's going to run.
And keeping that engine running smoothly, it all comes down to a magic number, 30. Doing even just 30 minutes of walking most days can vastly improve your circulation and really support your heart. And you want to pair that daily walk with the right fuel. So eat more fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, whole grains, and healthy fats. At the same time, try to dial back the excess salt and highly processed foods. And of course, if your doctor recommends it, make sure you're keeping a regular eye on your blood pressure.
Okay, let's talk about the computer, your brain. A lot of people notice a bit of occasional forgetfulness after 60. Maybe you walk into a room and just completely blank on what you went in there for, or a neighbor's name takes a few extra seconds to pop into your head. If this happens to you, take a deep breath. This can be a completely 100% normal part of aging. Your brain isn't necessarily failing. It's just that, like your muscles, it simply needs more care and it actively needs to be challenged to stay healthy.
So how do we challenge it? Well, here are your actionable steps. Try learning something completely new. Read books or do crossword and Sudoku puzzles. Even just having regular, stimulating conversations keeps your mind sharp and active. But it's not just mental exercises. Physical exercise directly benefits the brain by increasing that healthy blood flow we were just talking about. And please, never underestimate sleep. Getting enough sleep is so crucial because that's the exact time when your brain gets to work performing much of its necessary repair and maintenance.
Which brings us to Section 3, Systemic Recovery, the truth about healing time.
This is honestly one of the most overlooked changes that happens after 60. You might start to notice that a tiny little cut takes just a bit longer to heal up, or perhaps after a really busy, super active day, your joints stay sore for an extra day or two. Even recovering from a standard cold can drag out longer than it used to. The underlying biology here is actually pretty simple. Your body's natural repair systems just gradually slow down with age. And because this system is a bit slower, your intentional recovery habits become more important now than ever before.
So the crucial point here is prioritizing that recovery, and that number 8 is your golden target. You want to aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every single night if possible. Furthermore, make sure you're drinking enough water throughout the entire day to stay well hydrated and eat protein-rich foods to continuously support those muscles. And please, do not ignore ongoing pain or unusual symptoms. If something just doesn't feel right, talk to your doctor. Incorporating these small daily recovery habits will absolutely help your body bounce back beautifully over time.
All right, Section 4, Busting Myths, where we're changing the paradigm on aging.
It is time to dismantle some of those mental roadblocks that stop us from taking action. Let's start with myth number 1. Getting weaker is just completely unavoidable. The reality is quite the opposite. The science proves that regular strength training can, and definitely does, improve muscle strength well into your 70s and beyond. You are literally never too old to build strength.
Which brings us to myth number 2. Older adults should avoid exercise to protect themselves. Okay, this couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is that safe, appropriate physical activity is actually one of the absolute best ways to stay healthy, maintain your balance, and protect your body. Resting too much actually does way more harm than moving carefully.
And finally, myth number 3. Memory loss is always just a normal part of aging. Now, we discussed earlier that mild, occasional forgetfulness is completely normal. However, the reality is that significant memory changes, the kind of changes that actually disrupt your daily life, those are not standard aging. Any major cognitive shifts should always be discussed with a healthcare professional to ensure you're getting the right care.
Finally, Section 5, your daily action plan, small habits for big results.
Okay, we have covered a ton of fantastic ground today. Let's synthesize all of the source material into your ultimate cheat sheet. Remember, you don't have to change everything overnight. It's the small habits that lead to big results. Try to walk for about 30 minutes most days. Do light strength exercises 2 or 3 times a week. Fuel that engine with vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, and whole grains. Drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. Challenge that computer of yours by reading or doing puzzles. Make sure you don't skip those health checkups. Prioritize your 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and crucially, stay socially connected with your family and friends. Repeating these small, manageable improvements every day, that is the real secret to long-term health.
All of this really boils down to one powerful takeaway from our explainer today. The goal isn't to stop aging. It's to age with strength, confidence, and independence. Turning 60 absolutely does not mean your best years are behind you. Yes, your body is changing, but you are still in the driver's seat. By staying active, eating well, sleeping, and staying engaged, those natural bodily changes just do not have to control your life. Which leaves us with one final super essential question for you to think about today. What healthy choice will you make today to invest in your future self? Whether it's grabbing a resistance band, calling up an old friend, or just heading out for a 30-minute walk, every single choice you make today is a direct investment in a stronger, more independent tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the science of aging. Keep making those great choices, and I'll catch you in our next explainer.